to make a list of Cars diecasts I never thought I'd get, Precision Series Sheriff would certainly be there, and certainly be towards the top. I was a big Precision Series collector when it was out, but they were barely sold in my stores. I was lucky enough to get several online, several of the buildings for Christmas, and now I really have all the Precision Series cars I've ever wanted, with most of the main characters, whether it be their light-up variant, their regular variant, or both, all of the buildings that I don't have the original playsets of, and yeah, I've been pretty content with my Precision Series collection for years, and now that all the items are really expensive, I'm really happy and fortunate that I'm in a situation where I was able to get a lot of them while they were out and receive a bunch of them as gifts when they were still around, even though they were hard to find in my stores. But there's been one Precision Series item on my radar, one I've still wanted to get my hands on, and then I'll be content and I'll be okay if I never get another Precision Series car again, and that is Guido. My Precision Series Luigi and Guido pack came with Precision Series Luigi and a regular Guido, so that bothers me. But other than that, Sheriff. Sheriff is at the top of my list. I've wanted Precision Series Sheriff for years. He's really the only main character that I'm missing a Precision Series variant of, other than Lizzie, who was only packed in with her building, of course, because her single got canceled. But Sheriff's been the only character I've been missing all of these years, and I never thought I'd be able to get him because he's just so expensive online. He goes for like $100 in box. Easily one of the most expensive Precision Series singles. He was a part of Wave 2 alongside Mater and Sarge, both of whom I'm lucky enough to have. I got Mater online soon after he came out, and I actually found Sarge in a Toys R Us when Toys R Us was closing down. But, I was never able to get my hands on Sheriff, and as he rose in price over the years, I knew I would never get my hands on him until my friend the Piston 11 sent me a link to a Precision Series Sheriff on eBay who was no longer in his original box, but still screwed into the acrylic case, never opened. And while most people charge around $100 for Precision Series Sheriff, these people were selling him for only $30 plus about $6 shipping. So I was finally able to add Sheriff to my collection for a fraction of the price it would cost me to get him from literally anybody else. So huge shout out to the Piston 11 for letting me know about this and finally letting this dream item enter my collection. Anyway guys, welcome back to yet another review. Today we're going to be taking a look at Precision Series Sheriff, so let's get started. I'm so excited, I already unscrewed him from the base. For those of you who don't know, the Precision Series cars are actually kept in by screws, and they are an absolute pain. They're a nightmare to work with. They are so small. Over the years, I've broken so many, I've stripped so many. They're a total pain. I'm sure many of you know of many collectors who have had Precision Series cars that can't even be removed from the box because their screws are an absolute disaster. This was easily one of the biggest failures of the Precision Series. I understand wanting to keep them screwed in because, oh, these are the ones for adult collectors, but, like, seriously, the screws were absolutely awful. So, a few days ago, shortly after this arrived, I made sure to unscrew it so that I didn't have to do it between takes in the review here, and just in case there was an issue with it, I could figure it out. Since I got this, in the case, the description said he'd never been removed from the case, so I was kind of scared. That, plus the fact that I got him for so much cheaper than he usually goes for, made me afraid that I was sent a copy of Sheriff that could not be removed from the base. One that was just stuck in there and the screws were faulty. But no, luckily for me, this is somehow a completely legitimate listing, just from someone who priced the item significantly cheaper than usual. As you can see, it says Precision Series here. These boxes are all the same, although I do believe they kind of vary in size depending on the character. Larger characters obviously had larger acrylic cases. You can see Sheriff wobbling around in there because the screws have been taken out. Let's take the lid off here. It seems that while Sheriff was never unscrewed from the case, he has been, or at the very least the case has been opened. As you can see, some dust has built up in there, and that's perfectly fine. I'm taking him out of here anyway. Be free, Sheriff! Okay, there you go. You can see beyond the screws, he's just held in by these little plastic bits. And that's what the bottom of the base looks like, in case you're wondering. Those are the screw holes, and that is where they correlate to Sheriff here. Of course, they were kind of drilled in or built into the rivets that already put the cars together. Every Precision Series item comes with a little keychain piece featuring their license plate. We could pop that out. There we go. That's just a little thing, keeping it in. You can see Carburetor County 001, registered in November of 49 with a radiator cap mounting there. And on the back we have some little information on Sheriff. 1949 Mercury Police Cruiser, 255 cubic inch flathead police special, making 110 horsepower when new. I love that they established when new, because as we all know, Sheriff is a little past his prime. Isn't that right, buddy? And finally, equipped with a 6-volt siren, radio, and firefighting equipment. I actually didn't know Sheriff had built-in firefighting equipment. That's pretty neat. Learn something new every day. I'll screw that back on. And now we'll take a closer look at Sheriff. Now, as far as the Precision Series cars go, let me actually cut the rubber bands real quick. Alright, I was actually able to get the rubber band off without cutting it, and now Sheriff is a free car. I was fully planning on starting off this part of the review by talking about how Precision Series Sheriff really isn't one of my favorite Precision Series items. Well, I've wanted him for a very long time. He's not my favorite looking one, but as soon as I removed the rubber band and the hood came down, my opinion on this car completely changed. I don't know what it is, but there's something I absolutely love about how this item looks. It looks so good. For years, I've thought that maybe he was a bit too chubby, a bit too wide. You can see he is significantly wider than the original Sheriff release, but something about this just works to me. While I don't think the mold is perfectly spot on, I honestly think your best possible Sheriff diecast would be sort of a combination of these two. Not as thin as this one, but not as wide as this one. I still think that there's something about this that looks significantly more like Sheriff in the movie than the original item does, as much as I love the original item. I think a big part of it honestly has to do with the facial expression. While I'm typically not a fan of cars diecasts having sort of beadier eyes, I think something about this does really look like Sheriff. Maybe not Sheriff all the time, but as soon as I saw this facing the front with the hood down, I could immediately think of several just shots from the movie where Sheriff honestly looks pretty close to this. Ideally, again, I think you would want slightly larger eyes on Sheriff, and maybe a bit of a more emotive expression, but still, this is a really solid interpretation of the character. One detail I really love where they went above and beyond with this guy is the chrome grille and bumper. The original just uses a flat silver, but no, here we've got chrome, and it looks really nice. Complementing that is the fact that his siren is actually translucent instead of just a piece of metal or plastic painted red. It's fully translucent, which again just takes this the extra mile. Now let's open up Sheriff's hood. Unfortunately, it doesn't want to stay up. It's very loose, which is a shame. Typically with these cars, you could keep the hood up just fine, but for Sheriff here, it appears it always wants to fall back down. Kind of reminiscent of the Miles Axelrod with open hood 2023 re-release, unfortunately. I don't want to try to force it into an upward position. I don't want to risk damaging it. But you do have to remember that rubber band was holding it open in place for, what, 8 years now? This came out in 2016, so perhaps over time it got a bit looser. I'm not entirely sure, but it's not like I'm going to be opening his hood anyway. But for all you car aficionados, there's the inside of Sheriff's hood. That's his engine. That's what it looks like. Neat. Okay, moving on to the side, we've got the Sheriff badge, as you would expect, and maybe it's my Sheriff showing its age. This is a 2006 Sheriff after all, but the colors on this are so bright and bold, and I know that's weird to say when the colors in question are black and white, but you could see the colors are just much stronger and more vibrant, and again, I think maybe that's just my Sheriff showing its age, but the black is this much bolder color, and the white stands out a lot more, and that's part of why I like this item so much. The color scheme looks sleek and slick. It looks like Sheriff just got repainted. We've got his very nice white wall tires, as per usual, Radiator Springs badge there, and of course, probably the thing this Sheriff is remembered most for having, his antennas on the back. A piece that is noticeably missing on his original diecast because, well, how could you pull that off? And how do they look? Well, honestly, I was never the biggest fan of these antennas, but now that I have it in person, I think they look a lot better than I initially thought. They're much thinner than I thought that they would be, in photos I've seen over the years, they've always looked so large and intrusive, but honestly, I don't really mind them. It's obviously hard to pull off an antenna on a toy car in this scale that won't break off super easily, and with this being made to be a collector's piece, it is nice to see them decide to put the antennas on and make them as thin as they possibly could without them being, you know, a hazard. These are made of a soft plastic piece that are surprisingly sturdy and are going to stay up. They're not going to snap off easily. They're put on there pretty well. And while, again, maybe it's not the best looking design ever, I think these honestly really work much better than I originally thought they would. I think a lot of people's opinions on this Sheriff depend on whether or not they like the antennas. And I really do think that they're not that bad of an addition here. Honestly, to me, I would be okay with the Sheriff even without the antennas. I think they're just a nice addition that adds to all that beautiful additional detailing, like the chrome bumper, like the light up there, etc., etc. Sheriff writing back there, his license plate down there with the chrome bumper. And there's a look at the other side. And finally, there is a look at the base with the Mercury copyright, everything you would expect to see down there. Now, maybe I'm biased. Maybe me having Precision Series cars for so many years is making me kind of take this for granted, but I honestly think this may be one of the best Precision Series models in terms of the effort put into it. While the mold might not be 100% accurate, maybe the face could use a little bit of work, seeing all these great additional details like the translucent siren and the chrome bumper and the antennas, whether you like them or not, I think you got to applaud them for incorporating them on the design to the best of their ability. I think that honestly makes this one of the best Precision Series models in terms of effort. Maybe not the best looking one, although I still think it's pretty good. Again, there are some things that could have been done maybe a little better. The effort and the care put into this guy is really, really impressive, and honestly, items like this are what make me miss the Precision Series so very much. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this item in the comments. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.